Good morning. Happy Monday to you. We are told so many lies in this world that we live in, but I'm thinking one of the biggest lies that we're told happened to me, I guess, a couple of days ago. I picked up a shirt from my laundry pile and decided that it flowed well enough with my outfit to go work in. So I slipped it over my head and found out that it did not fit me. And very clearly, the label said one size fits all. Lies. One size does not fit all. Have you experienced this horror of believing something would fit you? Or have you bought a gift for someone else believing that one size was going to fit them only to find out that they had twice as much body as the shirt had material? It's disgusting. It's ridiculous. I did a post this morning that ended up being one of those longer posts that maybe you won't read. And I thought maybe if I talked about it, I could reach a wider audience than I could the other way. So I recently went out to experience some fine dining. We live in an area at Lake Oconee, and between here and Lake Sinclair, there are lots of great eating establishments, and eating out is a treat and a blessing that I have always enjoyed. And I got this from my dad. If we have $20 left in our pocket or $50 left in our pocket and bills are due and the gas hands on to eat, we'll spend it at a restaurant. We will. Because we believe the eating experience does something for the soul, to go out and enjoy nice food being served by others and to have that time of fellowship with family and friends. That's an important thing. And we've been known to get our pennies out of the ashtray in the car to buy the last hamburger, the last supper, Jesus would call it, I guess. And we're going to eat out regardless. But I love restaurants. I love to go in and see the care that they've taken to welcome me and to prepare the food and to treat me like I'm special, because I am special, and to just have that experience is a blessing. So recently we went to a fine dining establishment in Milledgeville, Georgia, and we took our seats and I started people watching while I was waiting on the food to be prepared that I had selected. I love to people watch. So I'm looking around the restaurant and I like to read people and say, oh, he's not really with her. He's actually with him. She thinks that's his best friend, but I know better. Just things like that. Not out loud so much, more maybe at my own table we'll discuss it. But that's just a fun thing to me, not to judge them, but just to play a game of placing them in roles that they may not ever have even considered. Anyway, it's fun to watch people, to see what they're wearing, to see how they're doing their hair and whatnot. So in this particular restaurant, some of the tables are higher than other tables. So I was at one of the lower tables, and not far from me, there were some folks seated at one of the higher tables, which put the midsection of a gentleman in a chair facing me at about eyeball height. So it was hard not to see what I saw. And what I saw was this tanned belly that was exposed between the bottom of the shirt and the top of the pants. And this gentleman had eaten some pretty good meals in his past, and it wasn't one of those washboard bellies that you can't quite take your eyes off of because you envy it so much. It was one of those, is he really 6 months or 8 months pregnant kind of a belly, which is fine, but not something you want to see while you're trying to digest food. And his shirt rode, just on top of this belly. And there's a happy trail and, all that goes along with it. So, you couldn't help but glance at it and wonder, does he not know this is happening? Well, he obviously felt the stares. And he reached beside himself and he worked the shirt down to where it should be and, put his hands on the table, and all was well until he took a bite of his food. And as soon as his hand went up, the shirt came up and there it was exposed again. I got to thinking about it, and I was looking at his shirt. It was a Batman shirt, and you've seen these shirts that have built-in abs on the print, and they have the squared pecs, and make you look like you're all muscular and stuff. It was one of those shirts. The problem was it was a size medium shirt, and he was probably a double X large, and I don't know why he was wearing the shirt. Maybe it was a sentimental shirt. Maybe he had once worn this shirt and people told him how sexy he looked in it. And so as he grew, he didn't understand the fact that his body had outgrown the shirt. So he kept wearing it because of some feeling it gave him. I don't think he was poverty stricken because, I looked at his shoes. I'm a shoe watcher. You can look at someone's shoes and pretty much tell what's going on in their financial world. Maybe not just one pair, but if you look at someone's shoes consistently, they usually have a tale to tell. Besides that, he had a nice watch on. And he had a really good haircut, so he wasn't broke, this guy. And so I was thinking it must be sentimental reasons he's wearing this shirt. But the fact is, he had outgrown the shirt. It might have fit him well at one time. And as I was meditating on this, I began to think about how many times I have adorned myself with cloaks and shirts and coverings and garments that were just as ill-fitting and hard to let go of. Maybe they fit at one point in my journey or in my walk, but they no longer fit me, but they're just hard to cast aside. Do you do what I do? I'm a bit of a hoarder when it comes to clothes. My closet, you can't believe, in my closet right now, there are probably 10 or 12 garments that fit me and another 100 that are hanging on hangers waiting for me to get back down to that size or maybe even up to that size. And I keep things because they're comfortable and I like them and they're just hard to give away or throw away. Every now and then I'll go mad and carry armfuls of clothes in and throw them on the couch and say, get those away from me, give them away, throw them away. I don't want to look at them again. And I'll have one of those kind of sessions every now and then and start over with my little small section of clothes. But I like to hold on to things, not just clothes in the natural, but mindsets, doctrines, feelings, things that we wear spiritually and mentally that are okay maybe for a season, but we outgrow them. We're on a pattern of growth, and if we're living and eating and breathing, we're growing. And as you grow, you have to set aside that which no longer fits. I had a conversation with a gentleman last week who was telling me about the problems that he's having in his life, and he's having some issues with his body, and he's having some issues with his income right now, and he's having some issues with his wife. Things aren't as smooth as he would like for them to be. So our conversation, as he explained all this to me, he said, I know what the problem is. And you do too, preacher. You know what it is. It's just that old devil. That old devil is after me. When I wake up in the morning, he's right there by my bedside, just seeing how he's going to trip me up today. I've been rebuking him and I've been shouting at him and invoking the name of Jesus. And, he's relentless. That old devil. Well, back in the dark ages when I was a Pentecostal, I had some conversations with the devil, and I followed the pattern of the leaders in my movement who spoke to Satan more than they spoke to God, I'm convinced, as we look back. And rather than affirming the positive, they love to accentuate the negative. And apparently, Satan and his cohorts fear volume, and the higher you can scream, the more likely they are to flee. And so I was part of a movement that loved to name devils. Everything was a devil. If you smoked, you had a nicotine devil. If you drank, you had an alcohol devil. If you were angry, it was an anger devil. And the problem was never you. It was always a devil that had come to attach itself to you or live inside you. And all we had to do was just talk to those devils and make them leave. And your freedom depended on our power to make that devil go. So if you'd come to an altar and tell us that, if a boy came and said he liked to kiss boys, well, we just knew it was a homosexual devil. So we would tell the homosexual devil to, leave him in the name of Jesus. And, we'd, give him that back rub, which he was probably enjoying. Now that I look back on this thing, he probably was getting some male attention that he had been wanting. But we would, we would hug him and rub his back and command the homosexual demons to leave him. And I don't know, maybe he felt straight for 15 or 20 seconds in the power of the moment, since we had commanded them devils to leave him. But before he got back to the third pew, going back to his seat, while Just As I Am was playing in the background, he was gay as Liberace. And we know that wasn't the homosexual devil. But that was a garment that we wore at the time. And, dear, please, honey, if you're still thinking like that, you need to put that in Goodwill's Dropbox and move on, because we've come to a place where we realize that's not what's happening. I hope you've come to that place. Well, for me, I couldn't go back and wear that garment again. My belly button would show. That would be like me putting on toddler clothes for me to try to slip something like that back on. It makes me so uncomfortable when people assume that I can wear something that I cannot wear. I was in a hospital not long ago, and I was visiting with someone who was on their way out. I'll just say they were in a place, and it was very clear that they were not going to recover. And I was called on because there are certain people in the family that believe like I believe, and they knew that if I walked into that room, peace would walk into that room. They knew that I could bring peace and love and make sense of a situation that would help the people there. And I was doing that because I know how to do that. Well, right in the middle of it, right in the middle of it, here came Brother Billy Bob Doodad into the room from that church down the road. And he glanced over at me and gave me one of them shita baba looks, and stood there for just a minute and told the family that it was the person would recover, that they just had a cancer devil, and that fortunately for them, he had the power to cast out cancer devils, and he was going to take care of just that. And he said, let's all get up here around the bed. Come on, everybody in the room, come up here. Let's hold hands. Let's hold hands. The power of agreement. Let's stand around this bed. And I want each one of you let's all rebuke this cancer devil together. We're going to pray, and we're going to shake heaven's gates, and we're going to demand a healing to come. And he was in the middle of getting fired up to do his thing. And thank God for boldness that I once did not have. I was able to say, excuse me, preacher, excuse me, just for a minute. Remember when Jesus was about to raise that little girl from the dead, and before he did, he had to remove people from the room that didn't believe like he believed. And I just want to confess that I don't believe. I respect what you believe, and that's where you are, and I get that, but I don't believe like that. So I think you'd probably be better off if I left the room, because for me to participate in this, it might bring some sort of doubt into the room that would mess this plan up. And I think it's a wonderful plan. If you could heal this dear woman, then I'd just be so happy. So if you'll excuse me, I'm going to just slip out of the room, and I'm going to pray for y'all from out there. And he said, I think that'd be a very good idea. I think you had a good idea right there. God bless you as you go. So I slipped on out of the room instead of standing there being uncomfortable, trying to wear a garment that did not fit me and faking like I was part of the cancer chasing brigade. And I don't know. Religion drives me crazy, and I can't wear that garment anymore. I can't. And that was one of those cases, apparently my doubt in the hallway was enough to mess up because the sister went on to be with the Lord. She crossed over and passed over, and it was my fault, I'm sure. The family didn't think so, but I'm sure that, by the way he looked at me the next time I saw him in public, which was at McDonald's, another fine eating establishment. The way he looked at me, I think I carry the blame for actually killing that woman, and no telling how many other ones, because I can't wear that garment. I can't do that. Remember when Jesus was talking about the new wine, and what did he say about it? Drink ye all of it. Wait, no, that's not what he said about new wine. He said, if you put new wine in old skins, then the skin's going to burst and you're going to lose the skin and the wine. And he said, new wine requires new skins. Can I say new growth requires new clothes? Can I say, as you are growing in enlightenment and as you are being awakened to the truth, that at some point you're going to realize that the religious services you've been attending no longer benefit you. They just piss you off and they cause you, well, maybe that was a bit strong, but they no longer are really helping you and ministering to you. And in fact, you can get to the place to where you're actually hindering others. Because here's the deal. It isn't that you're right and they're wrong. That's arrogance and ignorance. It's that you are where you are and they are where they are. There's this trail that goes round and round the mountain, and we are all looking at that mountain from different places on the trail. And I'm not here to make fun of somebody who is at a different place on the trail. You know, I hope and with all my heart that I'm going to be at a different place on the trail than I am now. I hope I go up higher and see clearer and breathe better air at some point. And when I do, I hope I have a good enough sense to lay down the mindsets and the doctrines and the beliefs that I have and adore and preach. And that's not easy to do. It's hard to lay down something you've always believed. It's hard to set aside something that was comfortable, something you cared about, something that was a gift from someone special to you. It's hard to finally say, I'm not going to wear that anymore. But that's what I'm going to have to do, and that's what you're going to have to do. We are stepping through a veil. We are walking in a different place. We are being awakened to some truth that demands for us to take some of those old garments and set them aside. I will close in saying this. Joseph's father made him a coat of many colors. And I believe that if we'll submit our lives to the Father of love, the Father who is love, that we will be given a garment of many colors that matches everything virtually. I can walk into any situation with anybody there, and I'm wearing a coat that will coordinate with whatever they believe. With what somebody asked me recently if I was pastoring now, and I said no. And they said, well, there's a Baptist church down the road that needs an interim pastor while they choose one. Would you consider something like that? Absolutely. I'm not a Baptist. I don't believe what the Baptists believe. But I have a coat, and on it there's a patch that matches what they believe. And I know how to accentuate that patch. I would be able to walk into that pulpit week after week and preach amazing, wonderful, inspirational messages that they would not disagree with. And I could even, begin the process of gradually moving them to a greater understanding and a greater truth than maybe their doctrine allows them to have. I know how to do that. Paul said to the Romans, I became a Roman, to the Greeks a Greek, to the Jews a Jews. I became all things to all men that I might reach them. There's a garment made just for you that has many, many colors. But I'm telling you, Joseph got that garment as a boy, and as a man, that garment would have no longer fit him. Now, maybe they could have added to the tail of it and made a longer garment. Maybe they could have expanded it somehow. But your garments are not going to always fit because you're always growing, always expanding, always enlarging the place of your tent. I just want to encourage you today that it's okay. Let go of that which doesn't fit. Get ready for that which does. You'll be clothed with it. And I believe that's a good message for us to begin this week with. I hope you have a wonderful, blessed day. This is the day that you have made. Rejoice. Be glad in it. Make this day whatever you want it to be. This is River Rutherford, and from Lake Oconee, I love you.